I do enjoy character-driven stories that dive deep into family dynamics, and His Three Daughters is now streaming on Netflix. This show skillfully shows the ups and downs in family relationships through the heartfelt conversations of relatable characters. It's definitely a must-watch for anyone that enjoys emotional storytelling. At its core, His Three Daughters is a family drama about three estranged sisters who reunite to care for their dying father. Set entirely in their childhood home, the film creates an intimate and sometimes tense atmosphere. Each sister is in a different stage of their life and carries their own baggage as they navigate grief, guilt, and unresolved family issues. The main challenge isn't just their father's illness, but the growing tension between the sisters. Each sister deals with grief differently, leading to conflicts. One sister wants to take charge and make decisions for their dad, while the others are struggling with their own problems. This emotional conflict drives the story forward. As the film unfolds, the sisters confront their insecurities and past issues with each other. While their father's death is unavoidable, the real resolution lies in their relationships. By the end, they achieve a sense of closure, not just with their dad, but also with one another. It's bittersweet and not a perfect happy ending, but it feels genuine and satisfying. We're getting roughly an hour and 40 minutes in length with this movie, so we are getting an emotional roller coaster as well as a lot of different contributing factors like the family dynamics at play.
Sisters fight, Ted!
The plot and storyline for the movie is well structured, effectively balancing character development with the story progression. What I did really love about this movie is that straight from the off, when we're introduced to all the sisters, you automatically start building a sense of judgment and a perception around them. But as the story moves forward, that opinion that you have built based on judgment and the perception that you have towards the sisters, it all starts to change as those characters then start evolving.
Evolve! Evolve!
And that's all woven in with the unfolding of the plot. It's also a great way to explore the changing dynamics within their relationships. The way that the story and the characters grow together feels really natural, and it makes it all that more enjoyable to watch and keep you hooked. When it comes to the critiques, there's one specifically that stood out to me. Christina and Katie have this made-up language, and they use it a few times in the movie, which does show the difference between their relationship and both of theirs with Rachel, because it shows the closeness that they have. I mean, to go as far as having a made-up language, I mean, that is pretty close.
You made me use language lessons.
Now, this is fine to do, so you must be wondering why I'm saying it's a critique. And the reason I'm saying it's a critique is that it's done a couple of times and it's not translated and there's no context behind the use of it. It's just sort of used and then that's it. This definitely left me a bit puzzled because they brought it in and they didn't really go into any detail and give you that clarity around where it's come from, what they're saying, why they created this made-up language. Is it because they're close or is it because they're not? You end up making an assumption around this that they've built it because they are close, and I think that's what the story was trying to strive towards, but again, you don't really get the clarity.
Are we friends?
I definitely think that this disrupted the flow of keeping me hooked to the movie. My interest was brought back, but then when they did it again, it had the same effect. And then I thought, surely there's going to be an explanation around this, if they're going to make a thing out of it, which they didn't. The movie stars Elizabeth Olsen as Christina, Carrie Coon as Katie, Natasha Lyonne as Rachel, and Jovan Adept as Benji. Now, when it comes to the standout performances and character development in this movie, I really enjoyed how the progression of the story factored in the character development, making it smooth and organic. It didn't feel forced or unnatural. And we don't get an abundance of characters in this movie, but even still, my top picks for the standout ones to watch are Christina, Rachel, Katie, and Benji. Christina is the emotional heart of the sisters. She's the one that's kind and gentle and actually comes across as if she's the glue that's holding the sisters together.
Glue, 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 glue.
You can really feel the deep love that she has towards her daughter, and that longing makes her all the more relatable. There's this moment early on where Christina is practicing yoga and meditation, and you get the sense that this is more than just a routine for her. It's a way of coping with the weight of everything going on around her. It's her sanctuary. a way to keep herself centered in the chaos of her father's illness and the tension with her sisters. Christina's biggest challenge is the distance from her daughter and the sense of loss that comes with it. Being away from her child is clearly taking a toll on her emotionally, and it makes her vulnerable during the already difficult situation with her family. On top of that, trying to stay calm and grounded while her sisters clash puts her in the middle of a lot of family conflict. By the end of the story, Christina doesn't get a perfect resolution with her daughter, but she does manage to maintain her composure and strength, especially as the family faces their father's passing. Her spiritual practices and her compassionate nature help her to find a sense of peace. Christina might not be the loudest or the most confrontational of the sisters, but the way she carries herself through grief and family strife felt authentic and deeply moving. Watching her find moments of peace amongst the turmoil was a real emotional payoff. Katie is the opinionated, take charge kind of sister. She's the one that feels like she needs to take control of everything around her, and especially in moments of crisis.
Control freak, innit?
Her need to control is both a strength and a downfall, as it distances herself from people that she loves, and particularly her daughter. There's a scene where Katie is busy cleaning the house, almost obsessively. It's clear that cleaning isn't just about tidying up, it's her way of coping. It's how she feels in control when everything around her is falling apart, especially with her father's illness. But in the same breath, she's also telling everyone else what to do, directing her sisters like they're part of the mess she's trying to clean up. Katie's biggest challenge is her relationship with her daughter. She knows things aren't right between them, but no matter how hard she tries, she can't seem to change who she is or how she interacts. She's hurt by the distance between them, but her need to control and fix everything often pushes people away, making it more difficult for her to truly connect. By the end of the film, Katie has to face the reality that she can't control everything, especially not her relationship with her daughter. She learns that some things like family dynamics aren't something you can just fix with action and control. It's an uncomfortable realization for her, but it's definitely a necessary one. Katie's journey reveals a lot about the complexities of the family dynamics and personal control. Watching her struggle with her need to manage everything shows how deeply ingrained habits can be, especially when they're a way of coping with emotional pain. By the end, while she doesn't fully change, it's clear that she's starting to recognize that her controlling behavior is affecting her relationships. This subtle shift makes her arc thought-provoking, as it hints at potential growth without offering an overly neat resolution. It leaves room for reflection on how people evolve, even if only slightly. Now, you've got to love Benji in this movie. He's an outsider who actually sheds a lot of light, bringing the audience into the knowing of what this family dynamic is all about.
I'll tell you everything.
His perspective on things brings a lot of clarity and unveiling, shifting your judgment and the perceptions that you might have had in the beginning towards Rachel. His perspective on things really forced me to make that shift with regards to Rachel, thinking that she was one thing when actually she's another, and the unforeseen contributions that she had towards her father and really stepping up and supporting him during his illness. Throughout the film, Benji observes the sisters' interactions, often stepping in when tensions rise. His candid conversations with Christina and Katie shine a light on the misunderstandings surrounding Rachel, which emphasize how much they overlook. As he recounts the moments of Rachel's support for their father, the audience begins to see the hidden layers of Rachel's character. The main challenge Benji faces is navigating the sisters' preconceptions around Rachel. He must confront their bias and help them recognize the strength and sacrifice that Rachel has shown, despite their initial belief that she is a problem within their family dynamic. By the end of the film, Benji successfully shifts the sisters' perspectives. They come to understand that Rachel has been a crucial ally to their father and has faced struggles they were unaware of, leading to the newfound respect for her and a re-evaluation of their family bond. Benji's journey is pivotal as it not only alters the sisters' perceptions, but also enhances the audience understanding of the family's complexities. His role as an outsider who challenges their views ultimately enriches the narrative, making his character an essential part of the story's emotional depth. Now that leaves my chosen standout one to watch out of the ones to watch, being none other than Rachel. Throughout the film, Rachel navigates her life through the haze of weed and the thrill of betting. While her sisters might see her as irresponsible, Rachel's behaviour is a way of connecting with her father and coping with the pressures of growing up. Her directness is evident when she bluntly calls Christina crazy, showing that she's unafraid to challenge her sisters, even if it complicates their relationship. The main challenge Rachel faces is the internal conflict between her desire to remain carefree and the pressure from her sisters to take life more seriously. This tension escalates as her coping mechanisms, particularly smoking and betting, begin to alienate her from Christina and Katie, who are striving for a more controversial path in life. By the end of the film, Rachel faces consequences of her lifestyle choices. She starts to see that whilst her ways of coping provide temporary comfort and a bond with her father, they might be holding her back from growing and connecting with her sisters. This realization encourages her to find a balance between her relaxed attitude and the responsibilities of adulthood. Rachel's struggle with maturity and family dynamics resonates with anyone who has faced the challenge of growing up while trying to maintain personal identity. By the end, her character growth emphasises the importance of understanding yourself and the value of family connections, making her story an essential part of the overall narrative. Directed by Azazel Jacobs, who's actually known for mixing humour and storytelling, His Three Daughters highlights his talent for creating relatable and complex characters that connect with audiences. Azazel Jacobs has a remarkable filmography, including notable works like The Lovers and Terry, both of which received critical acclaim. His talent for exploring the intricacies of human relationships has gained him a lot of recognition, including accolades at various film festivals. In His Three Daughters, Jacobs' vision shines in his careful pacing and insightful dialogue. His use of naturalistic performances allow the characters' vulnerabilities to emerge, adding depth to the storytelling and creating an authentic atmosphere that pulls viewers into their world. Watching this movie, it's clear that Azazel Jacobs has really had an impact and completely influenced the viewing experience for us as the audience. When it comes to the visuals, the film creates a vintage vibe that immerses you in memories, like stepping into your grandparents' house.
Then his grandparents.
The colour palettes, lighting, and set designs give a timeless feel that beautifully enhances the story. The visuals enhance the story by creating a rich backdrop that reflects the characters' emotional landscapes. This vintage aesthetic not only grounds the narrative in a relatable and familiar context, but also underscores the themes of memory and familiar connection. The careful attention to detail in the visual elements allow viewers to feel the weight of nostalgia, enriching the overall emotional impact of the film. When it comes to the cinematography, I thought the use of sideways moving camera shots added a dynamic quality to the film. It creates a sense of fluidity, allowing you to experience the characters' interactions and emotions in a more intimate way. These sideways moving shots enhance the story by drawing the audience into the unfolding drama and family tensions. They convey a sense of movement and change, mirroring the characters' emotional journeys and the shifting dynamics within the family. This style not only makes the scenes feel more alive, but also reinforces the themes of connection and disconnection amongst the sisters, deepening our engagement with their story. When it comes to the music and the soundtrack, I thought it aligned well to the emotional landscape of the movie. The music enhances the story by setting the tone for key moments and deepening the emotional impact of the scenes. It works in harmony with the visuals, guiding the audience's feelings and reactions. Whether it's a tender moment between the sisters or a more tense interaction, the soundtrack underscores the emotions at play, making the viewing experience even more immersive and affecting. And when it comes to the entertainment value, I thought that His Three Daughters actually struck a really good balance between drama and comedy. The film successfully weaves humour into more touching moments, keeping the tone engaging without overshadowing the more serious themes. Now, if I compare the entertainment value with other similar films, like Little Miss Sunshine, His Three Daughters offers a really refreshing take that blends heartfelt storytelling with moments of humour. The biggest challenge that this movie faces is keeping the viewer engagement maintained when balancing drama and comedy. There are moments where the pacing felt uneven and not every joke landed well. However, the heartfelt interactions between the sisters did draw me back in, reminding me of the film's core emotional strength. Overall, the movie left me feeling fulfilled. The movie really does provide that relatable factor into it, because it has that connection that it builds with its audience because of the family dynamics that are at play. But then it also cleverly balances that comedic side of it.
Comedy?
And when you look at that all-rounder with the plot and storyline, the character development, knowing the backstory with the director, the visuals, the cinematography, the music and soundtrack, all coming together to build out that entertainment factor, it does a really successful job of it. I give His Three Daughters a 3.5 out of 5 buckets, meaning it's a binge-watching 50-50. So here's the question. How would you deal with being thrown back into a family situation filled with unresolved issues? I mean, how would you deal with it? It'd be fairly awkward and uneasy, that's for sure. But let me know what you would do down in the comments below. As always, don't forget to smash a like if you enjoyed, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and follow us on social media to stay up to date with the latest content. If you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, click right here to see more. I'm Matthew, this is Binge Watcher. Thanks for binging with me.